Alrighty. Jesus Christ. My bird's popping off in the background. Hello. Welcome to my app demo. This app in particular is called, let's see here, go to the README. We got blockchain business card. It's a pretty simple app. It's got a smart contract written in Rust, front end's written in React, and all it lets you do is create a nice little business card for 5 near, which you can add your website on. And you can also claim experience on some of the layer 1 blockchains for development. And then other people, or yourself in the case of this demo, can vouch and refute those claims. So yeah, let me get started with the demo here. So if you want to code along or go along, recommend you have Windows subsystem for Linux. It's pretty important, otherwise you won't be able to run half of these shell scripts. And also make sure that the shell scripts are set to LF here, the end of line sequence. Otherwise you might have a little bit of an issue running them as well. So we go back to the main. Let's see, where were we? We were at the README here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and run these commands here. So from within the front end contract folder, which I'm already in on this terminal here, we're gonna go ahead and run the dev deploy command. And this is going to build the smart contract from within the contract folder that contains the Rust library file, and it's going to deploy it using the near CLI onto a new development account. And this is the account name right here. And all we're going to do is we're going to export that into a contract terminal variable. So we're just to export contract and then plug in that account ID here. And then because this function has a panic on default for the initialization within Rust, we're going to have to go ahead and call the initialization function because it doesn't have a default initialization function. So we're going to go and do this command here, which you can see is step 2 in the TLDR, which is just near call. We're going to call that contract. We're going to call the new function, and then the signer account is going to be the same contract. So it's going to call it transaction complete. Here's the transaction ID. You can open that up in your browser if you wish and explore. So the contract should be ready to use now. We're just going to go ahead and update some files within the front end portion of this project here. So I don't think I need this terminal anymore. I'm going to go ahead and hide it. And from within our VS Code, we're going to go into this environment file here and swap out this contract name for the one we just got. So 485. All right. And once that's done, you should be able to run the front end now. So just go ahead and do a yarn install if you haven't. It's going to go ahead and get all the dependencies. Mine was quick because I've already done it. And then we yarn start. And this should start up our server for the front end. All right. And it should start up pretty soon. Let's go ahead and get my Firefox window ready. And there it is. Okay, so this is our front end. So we're going to start off by signing in. And this is going to connect us to the Near wallet. And we'll log into an account here. And then it's going to attempt to connect us to the contract and give it a small allowance to run our contracts with. If we don't do this and we try to call the contract functions, it's going to redirect us to Near every time so that it can collect some gas for the transaction, which you can do if you want. It's a personal preference. I kind of like this the way that Near like sees it being done. It's like you kind of hide all of that from the users, like the small, just the gas fees and stuff like that, because it's relatively small and they want to make it as user friendly as possible. So we'll go ahead and connect to the contract from bigsexy.testnet. And so we are all good here. Do you see this is panicking because we have a function trying to get the contract or the business card associated with this account since we logged in, and it's telling us that there's no business card for this account. This is a panic from within the Rust library file that contains the contract itself. You can see it here. It's on line 211. If we were to open up VS Code, actually, let me do that. So I'll open up VS Code real quick and show you that. Let me hide this. We'll go over to the contract, src, librs, and let's see. R does, yeah, here we go. Let's see, add get card. Where is it at? Refute. Sorry. Ah, here we go. So this is the function that we're trying to call on refresh. And it's trying to pull this business card here that's associated in our records with the account ID that's calling the function. But we haven't made the business card, so it's shooting out this panic here that no business card exists. So that's what's going on there. That's what that error is. And that just tells us everything's working. So it could be an error. You can think of it that way, but I prefer not to, you know? You gotta look at the bright side of things. So I'll just open up the Firefox window. And now we can actually create a business card, and we should not be getting that error anymore. But real quick, let me just show you the stats gallery for this contract. See the methods that we have. So we have new, which we called to initialize it. That was what we called in the terminal, if you remember. We have set website, add blockchain, vouch, refute, create new card, which is what we're going to be calling soon, and then get card, which is what we initially called that spat out that error. If you're going through this demo, I highly suggest you keep the inspect element tool open, the dev tools, so that you can see what exactly is going on, because I don't have any like loading animations in the front end itself. It's pretty much all HTML with just slight CSS that I got from the template that I used. So like I did none of the CSS. It's just already there. It's pretty bare bones. So anyway, let me create a business card. It's going to cost us 5 near. We accept because we're rich on testnet. All right, and now you see that it's not erroring out when it's getting the card, attempting to get card, and it actually found one this time because we just created it. However, we haven't instantiated a website URL, and we haven't added any experience to our blockchain experience object. So we'll go ahead and add a URL for our website. We'll go github.com/umrami. And you see it's trying to send a transaction here, and it should succeed. Here's our receipt. Here's our log for that function call that we just did. And here is that object that we're fetching again. So now you can see that the owner ID is set, but also the website URL is set to what we just sent. This was a transaction we just made. You just didn't see it like interact with like the Near wallet because, like I said, Near tries to do all that behind the scenes. However, if you don't initially sign into the account and try to request transactions from it, it will start asking you to pay the little gas fees. All right, and then let me show you what I do when I try to add a blockchain. So let's say I think I'm a developer and I've developed on the Hello Kitty Extreme Layer 1 blockchain. All right, we try to add that. I mean, obviously this is not going to work. I'm just showcasing the panic errors. So we see here execution error, smart contract panic that not a valid blockchain, only Near, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, Terra, and Avalanche. And we see the line where it errored out. And if I go back into the Rust contract, you can actually see where I have this coded in. It's like it just checks to see if whatever you're inputting in here matches up with any of these. If it doesn't, then it executes a panic. So we'll go ahead and we'll add a proper one. We'll say, let's add near. And then while that transaction is going, we can actually just send another one. Oh, sorry, somebody came in. And while that transaction is going, we could just send another one. Well, it's already done. So we'll do Ethereum. And then we'll do Cardano. I actually haven't done anything on Cardano. Okay. Now this claimed experience section, I have it written here, just a little explanation, but yeah, the idea is that you're not supposed to be able to like vouch and refute for yourself. It's kind of supposed to be somebody else that says, hey, I know Big Sexy, he did some work for me. I'm going to go vouch for his Ethereum claim, or I'm going to go vouch for his Cardano claim. Or so you can say, hey, I know Big Sexy, he did some work for me and it sucked. I'm going to go refute his Ethereum claim, or I'm going to refute his Cardano claim. So that's kind of like the idea behind this like business card thing. But for the purposes of this demo, you can vouch and refute yourself just to see how it works and just to see the transactions taking place. So I'm going to go ahead and vouch Cardano and Ethereum and then refute near. You can see it's trying to send these transactions here. And we should get some logs. Oh, looks like 2 of the transactions timed out. It's okay. Near resends them for us by itself. And here we go. So we have some logs and we see that Big Sexy has received a refute for near from Big Sexy. Now, ideally, this would be a different account, say juamrami.testnet. And these logs are actually something that you can go back and fetch with something like the graph, which is a GraphQL. I think it's like it helps with indexing. So that's how I've heard it put to me. It's a GraphQL is like it's kind of like a querying language protocol. It's like an alternative to Rust, and then the graph is, I think it's a company, and they've recently built a indexer for the near protocol. So you can go through and pick up these logs without actually having to save this information on the contract storage itself, which is great because that saves the user money because they don't have to pay for storage, and it saves me money because I don't have to give my contract money for storage. And that is pretty much the bulk of the utility for this demo. There's not much else you can do. I guess you can go ahead and add every other blockchain you can. Ideally, I'd like to extend this out so that you can go to like user, and I can go to like juamrami.testnet, and then this would bring up juamrami's business card, and then I could vouch and refute his claims, but only he could update, or yeah, only he could update his business card. So once you're done with all this, you can go ahead and run the clean script inside of our terminal again. And what this does is it simply goes through and it deletes this, not here, it deletes this contract WASM, which is the WebAssembly logic that we deployed onto the blockchain with our dev deploy script. And then we can also delete this near dev folder, which just contains the account names. So we'll just go ahead and run cleanup. Make sure you set do export beneficiary, and you set either your own account, I guess. Yeah, just set your own account there, because the cleanup script actually transfers all the money that exists in that account we just created for the blockchain, or for the blockchain business card, into whoever is set on that beneficiary account. So where is it at? Clean. All right, so you see it says here deleting account, and beneficiary is juamrami. and it cleaned up all the project folders too. So if you go to cat contract, you see the near dev folder is gone, and also the contract.wasm file is also gone. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this demo. If you want to check out the contract itself, I tried to do a pretty decent README on how it works. You can either read the README in the front end contract folder, or you can read the README inside of the contract directory itself. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I also have a test script in here if you just want to go in here and test the contract without having it deployed onto the test net. Actually, let me just show you that real quick. So I could go ahead and run these tests here. I'll see if it works. It might not work because I'm not on the Windows subsystem. Let's see. I like it passed all the tests. Yeah, so it just runs all these tests in here, which is just test the functionality of the card and also test like edge cases to make sure that the contract panics out when it needs to panic out. And in here, I tested out like the functionality for other people to be able to claim or refute your claims with just dummy accounts using the VM context inside of Rust tests. But you can read more about that in the links I have for the README here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know. Check out the repo or send me a message on Twitter or something. If you can find me, I don't know. Thank you.